Kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Paramahamsa Paravajakacharya Sutara Sat Sri Srimad Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavindaki Nama Acharya Salarda Sukur ki Ramasa Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Raita Garadhar Sri Gaur Bhakti Vindaki Sri Sri Radha Govinda Gop Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Vrindavan Dham ki Sri Mai Purnavadip Dham ki Yamana Mai ki Ganga Mai ki Bhakti Devi ki Tulsi Maharani ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki, Shri Shri Radha Govinda ki, Shri Shri Ramachandra ki Jai, Shri Ram Maha Mahotsava ki Jai, Nitya Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the sum of devotees, all glories to the sum of devotees, all glories to the sum of devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Nice to see everybody again. You all brought your Bhagavad Gita today? Oh, okay.
You memorized.
Very good.
There is more as always.
Me too.
And yeah, slightly enough.
On your phone? Well, most everybody has it on their phone now.
Yeah.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, the divisions of faith, starting with what, text 14 about austerity?
Yeah.
Okay. So, excuse me, you are somewhat new here? Okay, good. Have you read Bhagavad Gita yet?
I tried, but
Okay,
I don't understand it.
okay. Well, that's
Beginner.
the purpose of these classes, so we can explain a little to you. Okay. So, chapter 17 is mostly about the gunas, about the three modes of material nature. The modes of material nature are the subtle psychological influences that everybody in this world is controlled by, despite their even understanding anything about that. We think ourselves to be free individuals, that we're just going about our day doing whatever we like to do when we want to do it according to our free will. However, Lord Krishna explains here in the Bhagavad Gita that there is the influences of the modes of material nature. And for that we start way back in third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 327. 327. Who remembers? Aishite, no. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks that he is the doer of activities, but actually everything is being done by material nature. So this is our illusion. We're under the illusion that we are performing our activities, that we are creating the result. But we're not doing that. What can we do? We're a little teeny spiritual spark, the Atma, Jiva Atma, right? Very tiny, 1/10,000th the tip of the hair, and we sit inside the heart. What can we do? Nothing. Except desire. We can desire. And then, according to our desire, the whole show takes place by the modes of material nature and by the agency of the Supreme Lord. So, this material world is created as a world of illusion. We want to take the place of God. Now that may seem like a gross overstatement, because if you ask anybody, or most people, they'll say, no, I don't want to be God. except for Klaus Schwab and his crew. But Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, 5:29, anybody? Bhaktaram Jakatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Yatmam Shantim Richiti. I am the only enjoyer. How's it go?
I'm an enjoyer and proprietor.
Oh yeah. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the dearmost friend of everyone. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities.
Yes, a person in full consciousness of me. This is the adulterated book, so it's not the one I remember. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material natures. So this verse explains that Krishna is the supreme proprietor of everything. He owns everything. He's the supreme enjoyer of everything. Not only the supreme enjoyer, but the only enjoyer. And he is the dearmost friend of others. However, in our experience in this world, in our relationships, we are trying to do just that. We want to be the enjoyer, we want to be the proprietor, and the dearmost friend of others, at least to some degree, right? We want to be the, especially if you have children, right? You're the dearmost friend of your children, right? They're depending on you, and so you develop that relationship, right? And so we own our house, our car, our bank account, whatever, we think ourselves to be the proprietor of those. And the supreme enjoyer, yes. What kind of ice cream do you like? We like this, we like that, we like the other thing. And so this way, we are endeavoring to enjoy our experience in this material world. Which is why we are trapped here, life after life after life. Because as long as we are engaged in these, let's say, this state of consciousness, we will be forced to be born here again and again. So Bhagavad Gita is teaching us how to become free from repeated birth and death. How to realize our spiritual nature, who we are as a spiritual being, and not take birth here again, but to go where? To that perfect world called Vaikuntha. There's a perfect world. This world is not the best God can do. Some people think, what kind of God is this? Look at these, makes all these problems. No, this is not the best God can do. God can do much, much better than this. There's a perfect world called Vaikuntha. That word means free from anxiety, no anxiety. And so Bhagavad Gita is teaching us that. So Krishna then in chapter 7, text number 14, I'm going to turn to that, if you have it. This is where he gives an indication about how to become free from the modes of material nature. Daivi yesha gunamayi amam maya duratyaya mam evaye prapadyante mayam etam duranti te. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can cross beyond it. So, difficult to overcome. Page 382. If that's what you're looking for.
It's a different verse.
All right. Maybe you have a different book.
7:14.
7:14.
Yeah. It's not the same. The body.
It's 17.
7.
7:14.
Okay.
Maharaj is switching from verse.
I'm jumping all over the place.
Okay. Okay.
Okay? This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So this is what we want to accomplish. We want to become free from the modes of material nature. Back in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna was encouraging Arjuna to overcome the modes of material nature, to be transcendental to them. So Krishna here gives a hint how to do that. It's difficult to do, actually impossible to do, unless, what? Unless we surrender to Krishna. So surrender, what does that mean? Krishna states that in one of his last instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadharmam parityaga mamekam sharanam vraja. Who can finish? Okay, you're the leader. You know. Somebody else. Moksha. Moksha shami ma suchaha. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Which means.
Just give up all religion.
Oh yeah. Give up all.
Dharmas.
Oh yeah.
Religions, dharmas.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm having a little.
Sarva means
brain.
everything. Dharma. All. Sarva means all dharma religions or.
Say it in Croatian for them.
Napusti sve vrste religija i samo se predaj meni, zaštitit ću te od svih grijeha, ne boj se Mašuća, ne boj se.
Just surrender unto me. Work always. No, that's a different one. So, yeah. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. I will protect you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Thank you. Get by with a little help from my friends. Yes, so abandon all your dharma. Sarva dharma parityaga. Sarva means all, dharma, all these things that we think we are supposed to do. Parityaga, give it up. So, what's the dharma of Croatia? Huh? I'll give you a hint. I'll give you an example from America. In America, we have suburbs. I don't know, maybe you probably have suburbs here, right? Outside the city, everybody has a single home. Yeah. So in America, most outside the cities, there's suburbs. And in front of every house, there's nice grass. Everybody plants grass and there's no fences. So when you go down the street, it looks very nice. It's like a park. And one of the dharmas of America is that everybody must keep their grass neatly cut. Okay? Krishna doesn't talk about this in Bhagavad Gita, but this is one of the dharmas. Sarva dharma parityaga. All these things that we think that we are supposed to do, we have to give them up and surrender to Krishna. And what? That means do what he says in Bhagavad Gita. So, what's he telling us to do? To worship him. In the 10th chapter particularly, and many other places, Krishna's explaining exactly how to do that. And so there's, of course, many details we don't have time to go into. But Krishna says, for example, always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and surrender unto me. He says also, yat karosi yadasnasi yat chahosi dadasi yat. All that you do, all that you offer, all that you think,
all that you offer, all that you give away,
and all austerities that you perform. should be done as an offering unto me. It's been about 4 or 5 years since I've given the classes, so I'm a little rusty on this. That's why I need help. So everything that we do, we think of Krishna. So we were speaking about this in previous classes, that we think of Krishna in all of our activities, whether we're sweeping the floor, cooking, walking down the street, whatever we're doing. We just connect it with Krishna, then it becomes a spiritual activity. And particularly what we want to do is develop the consciousness of serving Krishna. So, with that in mind, let's go to today's slokas. That's a little prelude introduction. 1724? No, 1720. Austerity,
Sure, yeah.
right? 17, correct?
Yeah.
14.
Oh no,
Austerity.
austerity of the body, 14. Okay. Deva Dvija Guru Pragya Pujanam Saucham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsa Cha Shariram Tapa Uchate. Austerity of the body consists of worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master and superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead here explains the different kinds of austerity and penance. First, he explains the austerities and penances practiced by the body. One should offer or learn to offer respect to God or to the demigods, the perfect qualified brahmanas, and the spiritual master and superiors like father, mother, or any other person who is conversant with Vedic knowledge. These should be given proper respect. One should practice cleansing oneself externally and internally, and should learn to become simple in behavior. He should not do anything which is not sanctioned by scriptural injunctions. He should not indulge in sex outside of married life, for sex is sanctioned in the scripture only in marriage and not otherwise. This is called celibacy. These are the penances and austerities as far as the body is concerned. So, these slokas are about austerity, actually are not about the gunas. Okay, I'll keep reading. Is that okay? Okay, next sloka. Anugdega karam vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat swadhyaya bayasanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchate. Austerity of speech consists of speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. Purport. One should not speak in such a way as to agitate the minds of others. Of course, when a teacher speaks, he can speak the truth for the instruction of his students. But such a teacher should not speak to those who are not his students, if he will agitate their minds. This is penance as far as talking is concerned. Besides that, one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circles is to say something upheld by the scriptures. One should at once quote from scriptural authority to back up what he is saying. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ear. By such discussions, one may derive highest benefit and elevate human society. There is a limitless stock of Vedic literature, and one should study this. This is called penance of speech. And continuing, 16. Mana prasada samyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshudir ityaitat tapo manasam uchite. And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are austerities of the mind. Purport. To make the mind austere is to detach it from sense gratification. It should be so trained that it can always be doing good for others. The best training for the mind is gravity in thought. One should not deviate from Krishna consciousness to be conscious of Krishna or thinking of Krishna. And one must always avoid sense gratification. To purify one's nature is to become Krishna conscious. Satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from thoughts of sense enjoyment. The more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. In the present age, we are unnecessarily engaging the mind in so many different ways for sense gratification. And so there is no possibility of the mind's becoming satisfied. The best course is to divert the mind to Vedic literature, which is full of satisfying stories, as to the Puranas and the Mahabharata. One can take advantage of this knowledge and thus become perfect. The mind should be devoid of duplicity, not thinking one thing and saying another. And one should think of the welfare of all. Silence means that one is always thinking of self-realization. The person in Krishna consciousness observes perfect silence in this sense. Control of the mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. One should be straightforward in his dealings and thereby purify his existence. All these qualities together constitute austerity in mental activities. So from then on it goes to talk about austerity according to the gunas. Now, so I started talking about the gunas without looking at that carefully. So I'm going to continue about the gunas.
It is.
Huh?
It is, because there were previously mentioned the austerities in passion and ignorance, and this is austerity in mood of goodness.
Well, these are austerity. Yeah, these are austerities of speech, austerities of the mind, and austerities of the body. But okay, austerity means this is when we talk about how do we purify ourselves. We want to surrender to Krishna to become free from the influence of these gunas. There's several things that we have to do. One is we have to become free from our conditioned nature. Here, this word condition means the same thing as the same way as it's used in psychological activity. Okay, condition. Okay, this means if a person is engaged in a particular activity for some period of time, they become conditioned by that and habituated to it. And a very simple example is somebody that uses drugs. They keep taking drugs all the time, and so consequently their behavior is conditioned. When the drugs are there, you know what they're going to do, right? It's a foregone conclusion. So we are conditioned by our many lifetimes in this world to try to be the enjoyer, the proprietor, and the dearmost friend of others. So we have to become free from this conditioning. And in this last shloka that we were reading, it was talking about the different kinds of austerities of the mind, because the mind is very important. It's the nexus of the senses, okay, the central point from which all of our sense activity takes place. And therefore, bringing the mind under control is very important. So, Prabhupada's giving here some very, what seems to be stringent instructions. One must always avoid sense gratification. How are you going to do that? Always. So it says, the satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from thoughts of sense enjoyment. So we have, you go on Amazon? Anybody go on Amazon? Amazon's always encouraging us to see more, buy more, right? Even you don't even go there for something, or you go in the store, it's the same thing, right? You go in to buy one thing and you see something else on display. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. No, I'll take that too. So advertisers are studying Bhagavad Gita. They know how that works, contemplating the objects of the senses. So, I'm sorry, I'm feeling like I'm going all over the place, but I want to try to bring this back. We're living in this city, and modern society is heavily influenced by the gunas called Rajagun and Tamagun. Rajagun means the mode of passion. Tamagun means the mode of ignorance. So this mode of passion, which is something that everybody likes, right? More, do, get, fun. Mode of passion is attractive. We are naturally, because it means what? It means sense gratification. So, in the cities, there's a lot of sense gratification, and people in passion like to live in the cities. So the problem is these gunas are very subtle, and we don't know how we're being conditioned by that. The influence, the problem with this is that the result of passion is that we are never satisfied, right? Never satisfied. That thing that we got last year that we wanted so much, whether it was a car or a motorcycle or a dress or a new camera or phone or whatever, doesn't do anything for us anymore, right? It's old, I want the new one. So this is passion. Prosperity. Do you have prosperity churches here in Croatia? No? There's churches. There's one church in Texas. It's called a prosperity church, where the minister is always talking about how God wants you to be wealthy and enjoy this world, and how to get more wealth. And so many people are attracted by that. Practically, he fills a stadium every Sunday. Yeah, because why? This is passion. Everybody likes it. And especially if I can do that in the name of God, that's wonderful. All right? So the problem is, again, we're never satisfied. And the problem is, it's difficult to think about God in the mode of passion. We want to, the three modes of nature, tamas, rajas, and sattva. Tamas is degraded, drug addicts, all that kind of low life. Come up from that into business activity, enjoying this world, being prosperous. And better than that is sattva, or goodness, which is peacefulness and satisfaction. So here's the thing, with passion, you have stuff, but you don't have the things that are meaningful in life, right? The non-tangibles. You have the tangibles, but not the non-tangibles. In goodness, you've got satisfaction. You've got the non-tangibles. You have time for your loved ones. You have peace. You have satisfaction. But you don't have the tangibles. So for people in passion, they look at goodness and they think, that's boring. Don't want that. Right? Like they think, oh, what do you do? What do you do when you go to heaven? You sit there and play a harp all day? Boring. So, that's Rajagun. That's the influence that keeps us here. So we want to rise above that. We want to come to goodness. And it's a bit challenging. You ever go out and you get a lot of nice hills around here? You like to go out for nature or go for a hike in the hills? Yeah. That's always nice, right? And why do we like that? Because it's sattvic. How about Hatha Yoga? Anybody doing Hatha Yoga here? No? Oh, one. Okay, well, it's becoming very popular, as you know. And why do people like Hatha Yoga? Because it's sattvic activity, it's sattvic exercise. And they don't know why, but after you go and you do your Hatha Yoga routine, you feel really good, because it's sattvic. And if you really want to get some sattva, go out to Kukudmi's farm and brush the cow. The cow is an animal of pure sattva. They are so peaceful. And simply by associating with that animal, you become completely, what do we say, chilled out. You become sattvic. So that's where we want to go. We need to rise ourselves up from rajas to sattva, and then from there to Suddha Sattva. And how do we get there? There's some nice slokas in the Srimad Bhagavatam that I'd like to read. This is in the second chapter of the first canto. Shinvatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridyanta stohya badrani vidunoti surit satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, the Supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So this is very nice. It tells us how to become free from these gunas, how Krishna is going to remove the desire for sense gratification from our heart. How? By hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing about him. By hearing about the Lord, our intelligence becomes purified, and Krishna cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from our heart in the process. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So again, this is a method. By attending classes, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, and rendering service to the devotees. And then one more. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. So, this is the method to rise above the gunas. Krishna telling Arjuna, rise above the gunas. It's all given right there. By hearing the Bhagavatam, rendering service to the devotees, doing devotional service to the Lord. And when that happens, the passion and ignorance is swept from the heart. They disappear, and then we become established in goodness. So Krishna consciousness is a very great science. but it's also very simple. And by just learning a few basic things and practicing them regularly, we can very quickly feel the result of becoming free from the gunas and becoming established in transcendental happiness. So I'll stop there. Questions or comments?
How to think of Krishna. I'm doing a regular job, taking kids to school and activities, dealing with your wife or husband and work, debt, bank, and all day long you're engaged in those activities, and how to connect Krishna with that.
Well, the challenge here is you're describing life in modern society, which is antithetical to Krishna consciousness. Krishna gave us a very natural way to live, living on the land, growing food, taking care of cows, in which it's much easier to think of him because in that setting, in that way of life, everything is dependent on the Lord. You have to plant at the right time. You're depending on the Lord for the rain, right? Etc., etc. But when we come into the city, which is a place of Rajagun, then it becomes more challenging. So, but it's not impossible, because we have to learn that Krishna is everything. Krishna says, I'm the sound and ether, the ability in man, the intelligence of the intelligent. So in chapters 7 and 10 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining how we can see him in this world. I am the light of the sun and the moon. So if we study those and we remember them, and we have to learn how to see beyond the superficial impression of the eyes. Okay. For example, we're all spiritual beings, but we can all look here and see men and see women. Or we can look beyond that and see spiritual beings. But so we have to train ourselves in that way to see those things. Again, it's more challenging in modern life. So it's Prabhupada wanted us to go and live in villages on farms. But that instruction was forgotten, unfortunately, and those farms aren't very successful. Nonetheless, there's a lot of people doing that. Anyway, you have to try. Try to see beyond the superficial, immediate impression and understand that nothing happens without the will of the Lord.
So if I'm working for a demonic exploitator, I have to see beyond that and see Krishna's will?
Depends on what you're doing. You might want to change your job. Bearing in mind that Krishna is the maintainer of all living entities, right? And if we have faith in that, we can say, okay, this job isn't allowing me to think of Krishna or have much Krishna consciousness, so I'll do something else. Do that with faith in the Lord. Many devotees have stories of doing such things successfully. But yeah, it's going to be more of a challenge than if you live in the village.
Usually people in the cities, they say, well, I have no choice, so I have to do this because of this, this and that. So it's usually, well, I have no choice, so tell me how to convert this situation that I am in into Krishna conscious situation.
You can do that with most things except intoxication, illicit sex, gambling, which includes crypto and the stock market. So all the other things, yeah, you can somehow or other do that. It's, again, it's challenging, right? Because modern life is designed with another purpose in mind. But natural life is given to us by the Lord, and everything is arranged in such a way so that thinking of Him is very natural. And we have time to think of Him, as opposed to modern life where we're just too busy. So. It's a trade-off, right? You're not going to get everything. You can't have the advantages of modern life and then have the benefits of a simple life. So you have to give up one thing to get another. And like I said, you know, modern life, you get the tangibles, but you don't have the intangibles, which are the things that are most important to us, right? But in the sattvic life, you have the intangibles, you have those things that are most meaningful, but you don't have the stuff. Okay, we can live without stuff, especially if you get used to it. I've lived in villages in Russia and Ukraine and India, and once you're there for about 30 days, you kind of forget about all the stuff. And life becomes simple and a lot less stressful.
How do you get people to stay for 30 days?
Here's what you do. There's a fellow in Russia, and his, well, they call it dacha, little summer house out in the country. People pay him to go there, and they don't get their cell phone or their electronics. They work in his garden, they grow his food, and they pay him to do that so that they can have a break from their Wi-Fi. How's that? Just one idea.
Cell phone free tourism.
Yeah.
Spiritual cell phone free tourism.
Yeah, get a break from your electronics. Because most people are like glued to that thing all the time, right?
Even when they're outside.
Especially you take your teenage kids there. They'll go crazy, but they'll be happy at the end. What else? How about you? Does that make sense to you? Did it help?
I have a question, but I don't know how much is related to this topic.
That's okay.
It's about the conscious. For example, when I'm offering food to Krishna, and I'm not offering it to please him, to satisfy him, to enjoy that food, but I'm thinking about how other people will get the prasadam and be happy and get Krishna. Is it the consciousness that satisfies him, or is it...
All right. Look, we have to begin from where we're at, right? That's all we can do. We can't start from over there because we're here. So that's how we typically think, right? I'm preparing food for other people. I want them to enjoy it. So that's where you're at. That's the starting place. Okay, so Prabhupada has then taught us, okay, then first thing you do is at least you offer this food to Krishna. You go through the motion, you say the prayers, okay? Your mind may not be thinking, oh, I hope Krishna likes this. Okay, that's the next step. You keep doing that. That's the next step. Then the next step after that is, do you have deities in your house?
No, I just have a picture of Krishna.
Okay, well, picture of Krishna is a deity. Krishna's there in his picture. Okay. Let me tell you a little anecdote about offering food. I don't know how you were taught, but when I was a young devotee, we were taught to place the offering in front of a picture of Srila Prabhupada and offer it to Srila Prabhupada. And so as a new devotee, I asked my temple president, I said, well, Prabhupada's a jiva, and jivas are localized. How can Prabhupada be present in all of these pictures to accept the offering? Krishna can do that, but how can Prabhupada do that? And my temple president said, oh, that's a good question. Why don't you write to Prabhupada and ask him? So I was very happy to be authorized. There were so many devotees at that time, we didn't just write to Prabhupada. And so I sent him that question. And he wrote back a very, very wonderful answer. And you can find this in the database. This is letter to Bhaktidan, December 1, 1973. And it's a general question, so it's a general answer that applies to all of us. And Prabhupada's reply was, the spiritual master is present wherever the disciple is sincerely trying to follow his instructions. This is possible by the mercy of Krishna. In all of your devotional sentiments and in all of your attempts to serve me, I am with you just as my Guru Maharaj is with me. Remember this always. So, Prabhupada is there in his picture. We offered, when we make an offering, it goes up the parampara. We offer to the Guru first. He offers his Guru up the chain of disciplic succession. So the offering goes up and the mercy comes down. So we should offer like that. And then you should establish your deity, even if it's a picture, a painting, whatever, Krishna, but you think of, you have to begin to think of not a painting or not statues, but this is Krishna, this is Gaura-Nitai. You think of like that, okay? And Gaura-Nitai, they're hungry. They need to be fed. I have to feed them, otherwise they're going to get skinny. So you start thinking like that. Let me cook for Gaura-Nitai. Let me cook for Radha Krishna. So then, I mean, you know, usually what do we do then? Well, I want pizza, so I'm going to offer pizza to Krishna. Maybe later we'll begin to think, well, Krishna likes kachoris, maybe I should make kachoris for him. But it's not necessary. In any case, the idea is that we have to train ourselves. Krishna consciousness is it's an evolution. It's a period of growth, a development. And so, again, we begin from where we're at, and as we become purified, and as we continue to develop our understanding and our devotion, it will grow step by step. Okay? Yes. Go ahead.
Kao početnik, na koji način disciplinirati ili ovladati umom?
As a beginner, she has a question how to discipline or have a control over her mind.
Control over the mind.
As a beginner.
Listen to the lecture I gave the other day. I spoke all about that in the japa class, the lecture about japa. You were here for that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anyway, listen to that one again. Okay, it's on his YouTube channel. But yeah, I spoke all about that. I really don't have anything more to add to that. Okay. Again, practice, right? Krishna says practice and detachment. So, and that's in japa meditation. So our japa is a meditation. One thing that I didn't do at that time is show you, I have a technique for japa that I use. So, you know, when we say, okay, well, how do I control my mind? You know, I start chanting around, and by the time I get all the way to the end, you know, I've been thinking about everything else, and then finally I come back and I go, oh, well, where was I? So I use what's called an interval timer. You know what these are? This is for exercise. So I say, okay, can I control my mind for 4 mantras? That's all I have to do, just 4 mantras. Okay, that takes me 14 seconds, 3.5 seconds per mantra. So that's what I do. I say, okay, let me try 4 mantras at a time. So we're going to start. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Uh-oh, what's the
Over.
my sound is turned off. Yeah. It's completely gone. Anyway, I don't know why it's not working. I have to figure that out. Restart the phone. When it goes around to the top, there's a beep or a chime or a bell. Bing. Oh, okay. How did I do? Did I remember Krishna? Did I think about something else? Okay, let me try again. Another 4 mantras. So 4 mantras by 4 mantras by 4 mantras. That's my technique. I use that when I start. And if you go through 2 or 3 rounds of japa like that, it helps. Okay, try that. Why are you not working? Okay.
There's also another method that if something comes to your mind, to write it down. Do you like that?
Yeah, I spoke about that.
Yeah.
And I say, keep a pencil or paper or a recorder or something, and so you can say, okay, that's there, it's important, we'll deal with it later. Not right now.
Can I ask about that? I mean, I thought that you shouldn't supposed to
Interrupt.
Yeah,
Not supposed to what?
Interrupt your japa chanting.
Well, the question is, okay, this, remember, I was talking about detachment, right? Krishna says constant practice and detachment. What detachment means, I can let go of that thought. But maybe that thought is nagging us, right? Now they do, right? We all have that experience, right? Okay, write it down. Then I say, okay, yeah, that's important. We'll deal with it later.
But I'm thinking if we're chanting properly, then we will train our mind, we will have discipline, train mind, we will remember that thought, the thing that we have to do. I mean, this is what
Can you do that?
Yes, I mean, I'm not that good.
If you can do that, great. If you can't do that, then you use the aids that you need to help you get there. Okay, we can't begin at the end. We begin from where we're at.
I do this. What you say. I write down. I just interrupt and write down what I.
Yeah,
But
not a problem.
It's not a good thing.
What's not a good thing is to always be distracted.
Yeah.
So, you write it down, you say, okay, then you can put it out of your mind and not think about it.
And then in a minute, the other thing comes up.
Right? That's what happens when you meditate. You relax and all that stuff comes up. That's why you have a piece of paper.
Then you write a book. My interruptions.
Sir?
How to maintain balance, inward balance, longer period of time?
Balance, what are we talking about?
Like inward stability of emotions, thoughts, feelings.
I don't know if I can answer that question.
You have in this lecture. Lot of goodness.
Okay. Sometimes people say, how can I balance material life and spiritual life? Is that what? Mm-hmm. And I say you don't. You give up your material life altogether and you just do spiritual life by thinking about Krishna all the time. Balance. To me, the impression I have is balance. This means life, and this means modern life, right? Because why? Because modern life, everything is compartmentalized, right? I've got my social life, which is separate from my work life, which is separate from my family life, which is separate from my entertainment, right? We've got all these different spheres of life, and okay, I'm working too much, I'm not giving enough time to my children or my spouse, right? And so we think of balance in these terms. Is that the idea?
It was not that idea, but this is very interesting to me. So you
Okay.
can talk about it.
So, yeah, so the problem is this is modern life, right? In spiritual life, everything is integrated, that there is no separation from those things. In Bhakti Yoga, right, your spiritual life is connected with everything that you do. That's the art of Bhakti Yoga. How to spiritualize everyday activities so there is no material. That's why you don't balance material and spiritual. You give up material and you make everything spiritual. So spiritual, in spiritual culture, everything is centered. I just come back from India. I'll give you an example from there. India is a very spiritual culture, and everything is practically connected with spirituality. People, they begin their day by going to the temple, right? They eat food that is offered to the deity. They, everywhere you go, of course you see signs, you know, Krishna's mufflers or something like that, you know. Krishna, you see Krishna, you know, the deities painted on everything. So the thing is that, again, the natural life is integrated. It's not separated. And then there is nothing to balance. But these problems arise from modern life given to us by who? Who created this world and for what purpose? Right? It's not created for the purpose of serving us. It's created to make somebody else rich, basically. Read my book, Spiritual Economics, to find out more about that.
I heard that communism is given to us to learn values. Yeah. So we can learn values.
There's I'm talking about spiritual.
So we can learn how to make right exchange between man and man.
But you can't do that way. It's not possible.
It's like energy exchange.
Let me give you an example. People say, oh, let's have peace, right? I'm not peaceful. If I'm not peaceful, you and I can't have peace. Peace has to begin in here. It's not something external. Okay? So the same thing with what you're talking about. If I'm greedy, I can't think about, you know, I want to cheat you. I want to get more. First, I have to purify my own heart. Right? So this is why communism can never work unless it's spiritual communism. And Prabhupada wrote that in the introduction to his Srimad Bhagavatam, that we would like to have spiritual communism. Means what? God owns everything. Everything is done for His pleasure and satisfaction, and we're all focused on Krishna. And when we do that, we'll all become peaceful, we'll all become satisfied, and then we can have perfect communism. So it has to start in here. And how do we do that? By spiritual activity, Krishna consciousness.
Okay, I understand, but here is one thing. So a lot of people value more, example, cars, houses, and they will, I don't know, give a lot of money and a lot of effort and a lot of energy and time of their life, but they will not value this kind of work, example, spiritual work.
Yeah. So this is what I was referring to about
they are talking that this should be free, and when something is free, in their eyes, that has no value.
Well, again, this is a problem with modern society. You can't have modern society and have a perfect world. It doesn't work, right? Because it's why? Because it's in Rajagun and Tamagun. And it will have the results of that, which is dissatisfaction, anger, frustration, and so on. Unhappiness. That's going to be the result. You can get a new car, a new thing, whatever it is, and this is called happiness in Rajagun. And it's nice for a time. But after a while, it's not nice anymore. Doesn't give me that thrill. That's called happiness in Rajagun. Okay? Happiness in Sattvagun is not coming from outside, it's coming from inside. Right? And when I have it, I'm peaceful. I don't need anything. I'm content. I'm satisfied. So it's counterintuitive to a person who is in Rajagun. They can't understand that because their conditioned nature, they're conditioned by their experience. If we can give them the experience of going to live on the farm for 2 weeks without their cell phones, growing food, grooming the cow, they can have a chance to learn about it. But how do you get them to do that? I don't know. So, formerly people lived according to a philosophy of life. Modern man no longer does that. They live according to sense gratification, money, wealth, right? Money is for sense gratification. So their whole objective of life is to gratify their senses, even though they'll never be satisfied. You can't change that. That's simply the way it is.
It's near-death experience. It's a near-death experience. It's Sattvagun.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that it'd be connected with the gunas. I mean, it's somewhat beyond the gunas. It's gunas means gunas applied to the body.
But also to the mind.
Yeah, also to the mind. But I mean, what she's saying is once you're departed from the body, there's no more influence of the gunas. They don't operate there.
But you still have your mind, right?
Huh?
You still have your mind in a near-death
Yeah.
experience, right?
Yeah, but there's the modes of material nature are not operating in the mental world.
Okay.
Your mental world is created by your consciousness. If your consciousness is in Rajagun or Tamagun or Sattvagun, that's your world. That becomes your world. Okay. But it's created here, which is why, we use this lifetime to prepare for after this life.
Yes, maybe we can say that guna,
Dok smo još u tijelu.
I just looked, that a guna that we're in, it creates the experience of the near-death experience. Can we say that? That certain guna can...
The gunas our conditioning and the gunas will create our experience after this life.
After, okay. But not the way we experience near-death.
I look at those as gifts. We don't read about that in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Temporary death and coming back to life, that's not there.
Yeah.
Those are little gifts to people. That's the way I see them. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because, you know, there's many videos, atheists that die and then they realize, oh yeah, well it doesn't end with the body. Things keep on going, whatever, or...
Yeah, majority of them change their lives after that experience.
Yeah,
So
many of them
in that
do.
sense, it is a gift, yeah.
And many people, particularly those who go to hell, that's a life-changing experience. So tomorrow's Ram Navami, Ramachandra's appearance day. Ki Jai, Shri Ram. What's our program tomorrow?
We start 5:30 with Abhishek and Kirtan. Then there is your Katha class. And then we have another like Arati Kirtan. First is like meditative Kirtan and bathing the Lord. And then we have Prashant.
Okay, we're going to have foot stomping kirtan.
Yeah, you will be allowed to dance.
Because I'm an old man, I don't jump up and down too much.
Sometimes you will see tomorrow. Will be little dancing, and then you will see ladies also dancing.
Yeah.
We'll volunteer to hold them up.
Because you know it's a very old building, more than
I know.
100 years old.
I'm joking. Don't get anxiety, I'm joking.
Ova publica se...
Oh. It's not the building, it's the floor.
I mean floors.
Yeah. Anyway, jumping is in the other room only, not here.
But yes, there,
Na frulici.
from there, yeah, usually devotees go there and play.
Okay.
Those who are very
This is the
enthusiastic.
dance room.
And he is like this. There.
Did you try to tie down Krishna?
Yeah, Radha Damodar. I should name them Radha Damodar. And tomorrow's a fast day. Everybody fast. And then we feast tomorrow night. Okay, thank you very much for your association. It's been a real pleasure to share this time with you. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Dhanesvara das Goswami.